I actually got pulled during my plan period, so I could not finish them, so I apologize. You did pass. I don't have a failing grade yet. Okay. Oh, no, she did good. Okay, you guys are really good at this. If you have your interactive notebook, you just pull someone random right now and probably find it. It's a bright green sheet in your interactive notebook. You guys were good at this on your test. It's the same exact thing, but instead of squared, we're going to have cubic. So, let's look at the warm-up. When we're talking about transformations, what does this negative represent in the front? If it goes up or down for last chapter, but it means it's what? What's the math term? That's coming up soon.
Correct. Oh, right, left. If we go left or right.
Down.
Which means what in math? What is the transformation when you look in the mirror? Reflection. Over what? Thank you, the x-axis. Now, Destiny was about to tell me, but it's not compressing. I am going to be stretching. Very good. So this guy is stretch. What does this -3 in purple represent?
It's going to the right.
The right. Very good. What does this 7 represent?
It's going up.
It is going up. Do number 2 for a ticket. Each piece means something. This is all from last chapter, and you guys, I want to say about almost every single one of you got that one right on the test. Almost. Like you might have gotten one little piece of it incorrect, but most of you got it right. So you should be good at this. You're taking each piece, you're telling me the transformation of the function. Let's see. Good. That one.
You thought.
Would this be?
And the top of it cracked up.
It's okay, we're going to go over it. All right, so again, walking around, almost every single one of you got it right. Did I get you? For some reason, I always miss you. Okay. Again, walking around, a lot of you did really well on this. This 1/3 represents compression. This 5 represents going left. And this -9 represents going down. Good job. Now, if you just did okay with that, you're going to fly through this section because it's basically the same thing. Instead of square, we're going to have cubed. But before we do that, let's draw out our cubic function. We did this on Monday, but we're going to do it again. I'm just going to plug in some points. I'm going to start with 0. What is 0 cubed? Or 0 times 0 times 0? Good, it's 0. What is -1 cubed? Whoa. -1. Here we go. Here's why. Again, please use a calculator if you need it, but -1 times -1 times -1 ends up being a negative number. That's why it is that way. What if I plug in -2?
Oh my god, yeah, anything times 1 is 1. No, it's that
Is
number.
itself. You're right.
Itself. So 1 times 1 would be 1.
You're right.
No calculator needed, guys. Thank
-2
you.
cubed. Keep going.
-2.
Cubed.
Cube.
Which
Okay.
is,
2 times 2 times 2.
Yep.
4, 6.
That's if you were to add them. 2 times 2 is 4. What's 4 times 2? 8. And is it positive or negative? Negative. Okay, so we're getting confused, so this is when you need to really focus. We have fun in here, but we need to understand what's going on. -2 times -2 times -2. If I were to multiply these in order, for example, that would be a +4 times a -2, which then gets me -8. That's how we're getting that if you're doing it in your head. You can obviously always put it in the calculator. I'm okay with that, yes.
So, for the left side, are we just like counting? Like -1?
Yeah, we're just kind of, putting in, Now let's go to the right side. We're going to plug in 1 and 2. Does anyone remember what these are going to be because it's symmetric? 1 and? Good. Oh my gosh, not a race. So I'm going to plot it. Here we go. I have 0, 0. I have -1, -1. I have -2, down 8. Then I have 1, 1, and I have 2, up 8. Remember, it kind of looks like a snake? From Monday. That's called a cubic function. They go different directions, which we'll talk more about tomorrow. But I wanted to make sure that you had that before we moved on. Okay. I feel like everything in this is going to be super easy. Here we go. This is just a different chart, but the same thing as your green sheet. When I have a positive H value, that positive H value, am I moving left or am I moving right?
Right. Left.
Remember, it was the one that was kind of tricky. If it's positive, we're just talking about this. It's positive, so am I moving left or right?
Left.
Very good, left. And look at the graph. So take a highlighter, please, and highlight the dotted line. That's your original. We just graphed that ourselves. That's the original. Okay, that's the original. I'm just going to pet you. And if you look here, it looks like I moved left, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like it moved left. It did move left. Now let's look at the next part. What if I have a negative H in there? It's going to be moving right. Very good. Again, here's my original, and it looks like I am moving to the right.
How can we tell which one's the original?
It's dotted. It's a dotted line. It's the middle one. It's right in the middle. There's a solid and a dotted line.
Wow.
Okay. Now, here's the only, out of everything, the only new thing that you're learning today. Because we didn't talk, this is the only thing that we did not talk about last chapter. When I have a negative inside the x, we're going to be reflecting like we normally are, but we're going to be reflecting over the y instead of the x-axis. And that's why I told you guys to make sure that you're putting the x-axis when I asked you to do so. Now, here's the original. What we just graphed up there. This is what's happening. Take a look. Now, if I were to put my hand right here, and I were to take the original and flip it over the y, that's why it looks like that. If I took the original and flipped it over the y, that's why it looks like that. That's what you're doing. You're reflecting it over the y-axis. So that's the only new one out of all of them. All right, let's talk about the rest of them. Those are the x values. Now let's talk about the y's. If I have a positive k value, that was the up or down, what am I doing? Am I moving up or am I moving down? You are moving up. Very good. Or you can just look at the graph here and take a look. We were moving up. What about if we had a negative value?
Down.
We'd be moving down. Okay, the original is still in the middle there. You've already done this. We're just I'm putting pictures on there so that when I say we're moving down, you can think in your head what it actually looks like. If I say we're moving left, you can see it shifting to the left. Okay, vertically stretch. Remember, that's just that A value all the way out in front. And compress is that A value all the way out in front. We have a fraction we're compressing. If we have a bigger than a fraction, if we have anything bigger than 1, it's going to be stretching. We already did that. All right, last one here. This is the one that we're used to. What are we normally reflecting over? The x-axis, so reflecting. And that was when it was right next to the equal sign. So if it said equals, fx equals negative something, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be reflecting it over the x-axis. Flip when you're ready to move on. That was just kind of like a recap. You've already learned it, but I'm just recapping it with you. It looks crazy, but don't worry, we're not going to do anything crazy because I kind of don't want to do it anymore. So we have this cubic function. I don't even want you to graph it anymore. I was going to have you graph it, but I just don't want you to anymore. Because guess what? You have a handy dandy calculator that I just taught you yesterday how to use. So just use it. Why even try to figure it out? If you wanted to, you could. Just tell me the transformations. What's going on with this 2? It is going left. Okay, let's talk about it. Remember I told you, when it's inside the parentheses, see how it's close to the x?
Right.
That means that we're moving either to the left or to the right because that's the x-axis. And then the outside is up or down. Are we moving up or down? Down. It's okay. It's been about a week since you've done it, so I understand sometimes you kind of forget. So down 1. What does this negative all the way out in the front next to the equal sign represent in transformations? Good. Over what? Very good.
Is that a big laugh?
Okay. Do the next 2. Do C and D for a ticket. C and D. C and D. I don't want you to graph it because you know how to graph things. I just want you to tell me the transformation.
C and D?
Yep.
Or should give us D, the harder one.
D is the easy one. A was the hard one.
Wait, I got it. Done. Bam. I don't think how much is more candy? You got candy, right?
I do.
It is officially on. Oh wait, we didn't buy one. Should we just go for it? He's like, yeah. I hear share locker. Oh, maybe.
Now this one, what I did, I took you and I made you 2 times the height you were. Would you be stretching your There you go. Did I get everyone? You did I forget you are again?
No.
Oh gosh, this time.
Yeah, you're great.
Not left, but it is stretching. This one I'll give you for that one. Okay. This one you should have had compressing. Remember my analogy. If I took your head and I were to just like compress you down, I'm taking you in half, I'm cutting you in half, you're going to get wider. That's compression. If I'm going to take you and multiply you by 2, you're going to be stretching. I would love to multiply my height by 2 so I'd be tall and thin. Okay, that's what you're doing. Questions? All right, we're almost done.
Is our homework gonna be like the one? Finally. It's usually on Poppy.
Wait,
It's like
wait.
the one's gonna be like the homework. I'm gonna throw some hands.
It's exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we're doing, yeah. This should be easy. Be nice to each other. I know you guys are friends, but be nice to each other. All right, so we are going to create a function. We did this in the last chapter. I'm going to write it out like we normally did. This is what it looks like. Where n is our power, our degree. Shh, come on. Our n value is going to be these guys, whatever we're given, because this is for any polynomial now. Because sometimes, last chapter it was just quadratic. Now it could be anything. It could be to the 3rd, to the 4th, to the 5th. All right, if we are reflecting over the x-axis in blue, is that my a value, my h value, or my k value?
Which one? Your A.
Your a value. So my a is going to be negative, right?
Yep.
And if I'm translating to the right 2, is that my a, h, or k?
H.
And it's going to be
Negative.
to the right, right?
Right, yep.
So it's going to just be plugging in the 2. What about if I were to plug in this 4 up? What value is that?
Okay.
And it's 4. So now I'm just going to plug it in like you did in the past with the chapter 4. So here we go. I know a is negative. So it's putting in a negative. I'm going to leave my x alone. I'm just plugging in my 2. I'm a cubed function. And I'm going to plug in my 4. Yep, that's it. Okay? What? Same for the rest. Now if I'm stretching,
It's positive.
it is positive, you're right. However, is that my A, H, or K value if I'm stretching by something? A, and it's going to be what? Very good. Now if I'm reflecting over the y-axis, this is the only one that's a little tough. It's the y-axis. So this is the one that you just learned. Okay, it's going to affect the x. Very good, which is very strange. So whenever you're going to be reflecting over the y-axis, you have to put a negative in for x. That's the only new thing you learned today, was that one little piece. So I'm just going to plug it in. F of x equals, my a value is 3, you told me. I'm going to have a negative x. Well, my degree is 5. And that's it, because there's no k value. That's it. You could put plus 0, but that would just be pointless, because there's no k. We didn't write anything for k or h, so it's all going to be gone. Let's do it one more time. The reflecting over the x-axis, what happens to my a? And then if I'm compressing, yeah, it's just going to be a factor. So my a is also going to be 2/3. And if I'm moving left, 5. Is that my h or my k? Ooh, good. I heard someone say it's your h. Now here's a question for you. If I'm moving left 5, is that a positive or a negative number?
Negative.
Very good. See, you're on a roll. That's why you guys did good on your test. It would be negative 2 over 3. Very good. So when I plug it in, I have negative 2 over 3.
Parentheses negative 5. X minus 5.
X
And to the third.
I circled it here.
It was right here, look.
Like this. Is that better? Is that green better? A big green circle. Now, here's something. Can anyone make an correction to my, because this is what someone told me, and it's right, but there's a little minor tweak I would do to it for a piece of candy. There's something incorrect about this, and what is it?
The 4.
4 is right.
No, it's the parentheses.
What's wrong with the, what is it supposed to be?
X plus negative 5. X plus 5.
I heard you.
Change it. You're supposed to change it.
You are supposed to change it, and Josh was, well, Josh was telling me. Josh was telling me it before you were saying it. It's okay. We'll get you there eventually, right? Okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. We only have one more left. One more left, and I'm going to have you tell me what it is for your homework. All I'm asking you to do, I'm not going to have you write the equation. I'm going to ask you to just tell me the transformations.
Okay.
Don't tell me out loud. Just tell me, write them down. I'll give you your homework if you get it correct. Or then otherwise.